Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be looking at the first multi-tool that Buck Knives came out with in 1996. This will be named the BuckTool, and this will be the 360. There eventually will be at least, I think there's 3 different versions of the multi-tools that Buck comes out with. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I have one of the other multi-tools which we'll be going over in Thursday's video, the Buck Lite. But anyway, so BuckTool will come out with this, and it has several different unique design features. First of all, notice this on the handle actually tells you what the tool implements are. That's reminiscent of the Leatherman OHT, the Gerber Diesel, and so on, even carried on to today, where multi-tools do that. On the end here, we'll find that the multi-tool comes to a fairly narrow point. We have these wire cutters here. Let's go ahead and see. So they work pretty good on the heavier duty wires. Let's see how they do on the small, and they actually do a very good job on the small wires, which is unusual for some multi-tools. So you can see here we have Buck Knives right here as well. All right, now I did want to mention before we go too far that one of the disappointing things to me with this is that the spring here, at least on mine, is broken. So you will notice that it's not going to have an extremely tight lockup. This side is going to be a lot tighter. So I was actually impressed with how tight the lockup is on that side. Now this one is a lot looser because this back spring, or whatever you call it, is actually broken. And you can see that line in the rust there where it actually cracked, unfortunately breaking the tool. And one of the disappointing things about this is they're riveted, so you can't necessarily do a whole lot of fixing with this. So let's go ahead and bring in the SOG Paratool, which is another multi-tool which is fairly similar. The pliers they come out. Obviously the BuckTool is a little bit different, but anyway, so they're going to be fairly similar in size. The BuckTool is definitely going to be a little bulkier on the handles than the Paratool, but they do have, both of them, unique designs different than the Leatherman multi-tool, the PST. All right, so other than that though, I am fairly happy with the BuckTool 360. So it does have, the pliers definitely have flex, so that's definitely something you're going to run into. Even brand new, people have noticed that the BuckTool definitely has flex in the plier handles. It's just something that happened back then. This is older school multi-tool technology, and it's just not as tough as even some of the multi-tools of its time. But I mean, people have mentioned that their multi-tool still held up. It's just sort of uncomfortable to see that flex. All right, so let's get on with some of the better things, the better points about this tool. So it actually folds up like this, sort of neat. And ironically, these are locking. So these are your locks. So the serrated knife comes out, locks into place. You have to push this button down to actually unlock it. So we have the serrated knife. We have the can opener, and it sort of clicks, and then it locks into place here. We have the Phillips, and we have the larger size Phillips as well. Now, I think some people have mentioned that this almost has like assisted opening, but it's really hard to push these down, and I mean, when I say hard, it's not that hard, but it's a little bit of pressure you need. And then they sort of snap back. So just be aware that they're a little finicky. So you almost need long fingernails for this. And then they come up almost like the, 90-degree angle, and then snap into the 180-degree angle. Okay, so then we can unlock these tools. And there we go. So we've got the Phillips on this side, the serrated knife, and the can opener. All right, so on this side, we have the knife. Now, I don't think this knife, obviously, it's been around for several years now, so I doubt it's very sharp. It probably needs some pretty good sharpening. Let's see. And yeah, mine definitely needs some sharpening. So anyway, not surprised. It's obviously been a used knife. I got this knife very rusted. And one of you had mentioned about you soak your tools in vinegar, and I actually tried that, and basically all the rust disappeared. So thank you for that tip. Appreciate that. I do read the comments, and when applicable, I use them. All right, so on this side, we have the flat drivers. And again, this is from a time when the more flat drivers, I guess the better. Reminds me almost of the Super Tool 300. So you've got the large, medium, and then your smaller tip flat driver as well. And then you just have the combo knife. So those are all the tools on the BuckTool 360. So this will be, as far as I know, the largest multi-tool that Buck will make, BuckTools will make, and, or Buck Knives rather. And so this is the BuckTool 360. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm not sure that I would definitely say that I would recommend this as an everyday user. I think as a collector, it is valuable for your collection, but other than that, this is not a tool that I will be using every day. It is neat that it has the locks. It's sort of neat that it collapses like that. It's just a little different multi-tool. But one of the big negatives for me is the handle flex. And then of course on mine, the spring is broken, unfortunately. And so it doesn't click into place like the other side. When it's functioning, you'll notice that when it works right, it can actually almost snap into place and it feels really solid. But on this side, unfortunately, since that spring is broken, it doesn't. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.